Git guide, local repository with Git. To begin, we're going to start with some setup. First, in your terminal or bash, type git dash dash version. Now, if you have Git version 2.2.8 or greater, there is no need to upgrade. If you have a lesser version, you need to upgrade Git. For Windows users, you will need to head on over to the git-scm.com website to download the latest version. Now, for Mac users, we're going to use Homebrew. And even though I do not fall into this category where I have to upgrade, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade Git for demonstration purposes. So I will type the command brew upgrade git. And I want to speed up the installation process. Now there's an error here about the dstore file, which can be safely ignored. Now I'm going to clear the terminal and type git dash dash version. And I've gone from version 2.29 to version 2.30. Now the next thing I need to do is set the default branch of Git on my computer to main. So I will use the command git config dash dash global init dot default branch main. With this command, any future local repositories initialized on this computer will start with the main branch. Now I'm going to clear the terminal to make a new local Git repo. And first, I'm going to make a directory. mkdir git dash init dash sample. And I will hit enter. And now I need to cd into this directory. cd git dash init dash sample. Now I'm going to create an index.html file with the touch command, touch index.html. Lastly, I'm going to initialize Git with the command git init. Now, before I go any further, let's take a look at the Git status. So I need to type the command git status. And we can see there is an untracked file. And the way we handle untracked files is we need to add them to be tracked. I will type git add dot and hit enter. Now I'm going to type git status again. And here we have changes to be committed with the index.html file listed. So what does this mean? We need to commit this file. So with the git commit command, git commit -m, and make sure to wrap the message in quotes, initial commit. Now I'm going to clear the terminal again and type git status. And here it says on the branch main, nothing to commit, working tree clean. Great. Now, with nothing to commit, we are ready to push this to a remote directory. So I'm going to head on over to GitHub. And over here, I'm at the new repository page on GitHub. And I'm going to name this repository git-init-sample. Now, for demonstration purposes and to avoid potential Git conflicts, I'm not going to check off add a README file. So I'm going to scroll down over to create and click on it. Now we created an empty remote repository. And because of this, GitHub has given us some useful commands. We're going to focus on the second set of commands because we have an existing local repository. Now with these commands, because of what we did earlier in this video, the second command is not needed. If your default branch isn't main, you do need to run this command. Now I need to copy the remote URL and head on back over to the terminal. And the first command that GitHub had listed was how to add this remote URL to your existing local repository. So I will type git remote add origin and I will paste in that remote URL. Now, for whatever reason, if your default branch is master and not main, you need to run this command that's currently popped up on the screen. Now that this is set up, the last thing we need to do is push our local repository to our remote repository. So I will type git push -u origin main. Now I'm going to go back to GitHub and verify that the index.html file is at the remote repository. Now make sure that you reload this page and we can see that there's an index.html file in this repository. And that's it for connecting your local repository to your remote repository. Now, let's talk about your classroom repository. Throughout the week, you will get activities, solutions, and assignments pushed to this repository. But how do you get those updates? Let's use the local repository that was made earlier in this video as an example, because every classroom repository is different. I'm going to go back to my terminal and cd into the git-init-sample folder. And I have already pushed some remote changes and updates that need to be retrieved locally. In order to get these on my local repository, I need to pull these changes. Git pull origin main. And after a couple moments, it has pulled the latest changes from the remote repository. And that's it. Thanks for watching and happy coding.